This is another man who knows himself and owns it. The other side of the coin I mentioned earlier. He's non-monogamous. I want to be responsible inside of when I say that phrase, because not a lot of people are educated around it. There is no staple framework for non-monogamy. That's created between partners. Whoever is involved knows exactly how those terms work. Why is that? We'll go into it in a hot second. But as far as this man, he values his morals, his beliefs, his integrity. Again, these men know themselves and they own it. So he's not going to show up hiding anything. He's not going to show up being less than transparent. He's not going to show up withholding anything. He wants you to know, again, so that you can make your choice, so that you can be down or move around. No time to waste for him or yourself. Now, with that, inside of, like I said, non-monogamy, there's polyamorous, multiple partners. Poly, short phrase. Now you hear with that, multiple partners. I'm not saying that just to be politically correct or to include everybody. I'm saying that because that specifically does not distinguish what it looks like. It just means that there are multiple partners. Because again, inside of non-monogamy, you're going to create that with him as a partner directly. Now, polygamy versus, say, polyandry. Polygamy is actually having multiple wives. That's a distinct version of non-monogamy. It is not polyamory. It is distinctly one man, multiple wives. The other side of that, polyandry, one woman, multiple husbands. If that's your conversation, I'm sure you've done your research and know about that. But I just want to clarify because, like I say, if you hear these tags, titles, if you hear poly, doesn't mean everything that you think it means. If you hear polygamy, it doesn't mean everything you think it means. If you hear non-monogamy, that's a blanket to cover anything. Anything that is not monogamy. Some people call it monogamish, swingers, hall passes, all kinds of situations. Anything that's not monogamy. Just you, just me, it steps into that bracket, and that's everything else under the sun. Some people, right, the infidelity as far as that emotional aspect is just having friends. Have a guy that has a girl, best friend, whatever. For some people, that's enough cheating. That's not monogamy. That is in the category monogamish. So I'm giving you the whole spectrum. You take it, put it in your box, and calculate how you need to. Same thing with him. You've got to do your due diligence to assure that you can handle what life looks like. This doesn't put all the pressure on you, but especially inside of a non-monogamous lifestyle, you are going to be introduced and exposed to a lot of healthy relationship tools. I say that, not trying to sway you in any direction. One thing about monogamy is it allows us, no matter who you are, what you believe in, it allows us to go on a principle that is fairly simple. And so by that, I mean there's not much gray area. Inside of non-monogamy, you have to actually take on conversations for compersion, feeling happiness for your partner irrelevant of what it feels for you. You have to take on jealousy, something that you want that someone else has. You have to take on envy, something of yours that someone else has. Jealousy is completely natural, completely normal. A non-monogamous man can still feel jealous. However, maturity to understand what does that actually mean. See, these are the conversations that get to us. This is why your man's childhood friend gets on your nerves. This is why your man can't stand the men that are in your life for whatever reason. Friend of the family, trusted advisor, blah, blah, blah. These deeper conversations for how we relate, our villages have changed. Our practices have changed. Our spirituality, our religion, our sexuality, all these things are changing. And when you take on life as simply square pegs, round holes, if you get what I'm saying, everything needs to fit, you miss so much more of relationship. Matter of fact, I'll tell you attachment theory. Inside of monogamy, there's not much reason, until you step into therapy, get into the psychology of it and healthy relating, there's not much reason to take on attachment theory. That is something very deep ingrained in all of us from the moment you're fucking born. Parents, like, this has nothing to do with relationships. It's how you map onto the world, how you see life, how you see relationships, how you see being loved. And when I say relationships, again, platonic, familial, professional, all of them have some level of attachment. So especially when it comes to your romantic partner, the conversations you will get involved in inside of a non-monogamous dynamic will have you expand yourself inside of relationships and actually take on the things that get in your way. Again, not perpetuating anything. I'm trying to deepen the water that you swim in, get you comfortable with these principles and distinctions so you can look into it for yourself. I'm just giving you the tools. I'm just big bro. Now moving along, that's the first category, the man who knows himself and owns himself. Those are the categories of men that you can flag men inside of.